Let me start by saying that I actually like my job, my employer, and about 99.8% of the customers. I know. An Iratrian-like stuff. How novel, not? So, this isn't a reflection on the company or our clientele. Just on one particular customer. Or rather, two customers, but I'll get to that. So, to set the scene, I'm an Iratrian, a young stallion not long out of college, but I've been living in the United Jixavan Republic for a while. The city I live in is fairly cosmopolitan, but the majority of people here are, as you'd expect in the UJR, either Jishis or humans, with other bipedal species accounting for most of the rest. Not that there's anything wrong with bipedalism. Some of the coolest people I know have two legs. It's just, there's not very many Iratrians here other than me and my folks. But there are a few other quadrupeds around, mostly Felra and a tight-knit community of Vonga. I mention that because it's kind of important to the story, since the retail store I work at is one of the very few that specifically stocks items for quadrupedal shoppers. I won't say the name of the chain, but it has a comical spotted sand lizard for a mascot and the storefronts have a burrow-andoon motif. If you live in the UJR, you know the one I mean. So, I'd been working this job for about 3 months when I found myself manning the store completely alone one day. It was one of the big Jixavan holy days, the festival of Xalji, the goddess of kindness and good deeds, and all the Jishis and most of the human staff had taken the day off to celebrate. Now, religious festival days are normally really slow for our business, so being short-staffed wasn't that big of a deal. Where there were normally 6 employees on site, we would get by with 2 instead. Bots and the inventory control AI do most of the real work, anyway. There was supposed to be an assistant manager there with me, a human female named Corelia, so the two of us should have everything covered as long as there were no catastrophes. Well, about 2 hours before I was supposed to go on shift, I got a call. It was Corelia, calling to say that she couldn't make it in. She looked kind of weird and sounded a little bit off, like slurring her words, so I asked her if she was sick. She said she was, that she had contracted spontaneous intoxicated ecdysiasm and that she couldn't come to work because clothes wouldn't stay on her body until she had recovered. I said I'd never heard of that, and wasn't sure it was a thing, but she panned out the hollow shot to show that, sure enough, she was naked. And since humans don't have much fur, a naked human is seriously naked. Like, nakeder than anything I'd ever seen naked. So, yes, her illness was apparently legit. And maybe contagious, too, because I could see some other humans on the bed with her and they were every bit as naked. Sweaty looking, too. They must have had fevers. I kind of freaked out then and asked her if I should call Zavanji, our store manager, to arrange another supervisor to come in with me. But Corelia told me I shouldn't call any of the other employees about this, because they'd just get all worried about her and it would ruin their enjoyment of the holy day festivities. And nobody wanted that. In fact, I should never mention the details of her absence to them at all. Besides, she said, her sickness making her draw out the word and turn the S sounds into TH sounds, you're supervisor enough, my guy. Total management material if I ever saw it. In fact, I'm promoting you to acting assistant manager for the day. This could be, like, your big break. I'm giving you an opportunity here. Just be the boss and don't screw up, and who knows what your future might hold. After she disconnected, I gave it some thought and decided Corelia might be right. Maybe I really was cut out for management, and what better way to dip my hooves into the stream than by filling in for the bosses that day. So I put on my best formal flank kilt, made sure my company wither vest was cleaner than a missionary's jokes, polished my hooves and made sure my main style blended into my stripes properly, and went off to do some managing. I had helped open the store before, so I knew all the procedures and went through them methodically, by the book. Mostly, it was approving and authenticating the inventory control AI's processes, releasing the bots, and making sure the store was customer ready by providing those little touches and tweaks that the AI couldn't quite accomplish on its own. The AI queried me on why Corellia wasn't doing the opening procedure like she'd been scheduled to, but I gently but firmly informed it that I was acting assistant manager for the day and my word would be policy, for that day, anyway. Managers need to be firm, I think, but a kind and gentle sort of firmness. Like a dad. Dads are good at managing people, or at least mine is. So I tried to take a fatherly sort of line with the AI. And since it didn't go rogue and try to conquer the planet like AIs do in 3V movies, I'm thinking I did something right. Once we had the store all powered up, bought up, and ready to go, it was just a matter of unlocking the front doors and being bored. Like I said, it was a holy day for the Jixivans, and a fairly major one, so traffic in the store was underwhelming. Not all Jishis are devout, or even all that religious, but they all seem to enjoy the festivities of the holy days, and so do the humans who make up about a third of the population on this planet. That means that the whole city basically shuts down for the day. No deliveries. No tradesmen or construction crews working. About the only places that do full business on holy days are places that sell intoxicants or party supplies, and those are not part of our inventory. Our store does mainly clothing and accessories, housewares, and personal grooming articles. Not many natives go shopping for those things on holy days. Between opening and midday meal break, I think we had about 10 customers. Things picked up a little after midday. I think at our peak we had nearly 4 customers in the store at one time. At any rate, things were going smoothly and I was walking around with a tablet in my manipulators, trying to look like I was in charge and ready to make notes about anything that needed my managing prowess. All was well, and in just a few more hours my shift would end and, assuming the store didn't explode or something, my very first day as a manager would be a rousing success, if not from a profitability standpoint, at least from a store still standing, inventory control and not rampaging standpoint. And then I heard it. The dreaded, "Excuse me, sir." Now, I've only been working retail for a few months, but those months have been every bit as educational as my college studies were. And one of the first things I learned about was that customer. You know that customer. The one who is upset about something, whether the stock, the staff, or their life in general, and cannot or will not be appeased by any rational action. Eritreans don't really have a word for this sort of person, because they are vanishingly rare in our society. The closest thing to a name would be the phrase we use to describe a difficult individual, someone who brings light and joy to a room by being in a different one. The Jixivan term for that kind of customer is a frill-tugger, while humans with that personality type are referred to as Karens by my human coworkers. And I could tell that this one was a full-on frill-tugging Karen just by the snarly little snap she put into her words, a tone that managed to be authoritarian and condescending at the same time. I gulped, put on my best customer service smile and perked my ears, then turned to face my destiny. The customer impatiently tapping her hind feet and flicking her tail in short, angry swishes was a Felra. And, yes, she was as pretty and glamorous as Felra normally are, but there was nothing attractive or charming about the look she was giving me. It was like I was something she couldn't scrape off her feet fast enough. She was holding a piece of jewelry in her hand, a silver and sapphire belly chain from our accessories department. If you are quite done with wandering around gawking, I need you to do your job. She had a guttural, rolling sort of accent that told me she wasn't from around here. I'm an immigrant myself, but you know what I mean. I suppose that would explain why she was shopping on a day when almost everyone else was out having fun. She held out the belly chain to me like she was accusing it of something. This merchandise of yours is unacceptable. What seems to be the issue, ma'am? I asked her. Look at it. You have eyes, don't you? Use them for something other than finding weeds to chew on. Oh boy. Bigoted comments about me being a grazing herbivore right from the start. I could feel my soul wither just a little bit. But I was management material. Corellia had said so. I soldiered on. Ma'am, it will be easier for me to help you if you will clearly state what your issue is with this item. The sooner I can understand the exact nature of your complaint, the sooner I can help resolve it for you. She huffed and did the hindfeet entail thing again. The sapphires in this belly chain are flawed. The shading of these two neighboring stones does not match exactly, and there are places where the setting is being used to conceal imperfections in the cut of the gems. Okay, I said, feeling a little relief at understanding the issue. This one might be resolvable after all. So, the quality was not what you expected when you purchased the item. If you can tell me when you bought it from us, I can locate your transaction and provide you a refund. At least, I hoped I could. Surely the inventory control AI would respect my authority as acting assistant manager. I stood there, expectantly, manipulators on my tablet, ready to take down her information. That didn't happen. Instead, the frill-tugger "I'm sorry, honored customer" just stared at me like I'd peed on the floor or something. After a moment, she gave a little sniff and said, "I didn't buy this." Wait, what? There is no way under the eternal mother's gaze that I would pay the price you people are asking for such shoddy merchandise. The very idea is an insult. A disparagement of my taste and judgment. So much for resolvable. All right, ma'am. So, if you haven't already purchased it, your issue with this item is what, then? I just told you, you grass-nibbling oaf. It is flawed. Defective. I will not pay such a price for merchandise of such inferior quality. Then, don't. I hazarded. She glared at me. It made my blood run cool and threatened to trigger my flight reflex. Are you being flippant with me? I think you are. I sighed and tried to gather my cool and courage. To be the kind of manager that Corellia thought I could be. I had to live up to her faith in me. Ma'am, I apologize if I seem to not be taking your complaint seriously, but I am honestly confused as to why you are upset. So, if you would, please just explain to me what it is you would like, store name, to do for you regarding this matter. I've told you twice already. This item is flawed. It is not worth the asking price. I understand your views on that, ma'am. I just honestly don't understand why you are upset about the price of something you have not bought and clearly do not want. Her green lips curled. I never said I did not want it. I said that I would not pay the extortionate price you are asking. Oh. Oh. So, you want me to do, what? She turned the belly chain over in her hands a few times. This piece is priced at 340 standards. It is worth perhaps 120. I am willing to pay that much for it. So, wait. Was she haggling? Was that what this was? She was a foreigner, after all, so maybe that was normal wherever she was from. I'm sorry, ma'am, but prices are set by our corporate office and cannot be altered by store staff. We can only sell goods at the marked price. Your price is unacceptable, she yelled. It made my ears flatten against my head. I'm sorry you feel that way, ma'am, but my advice is that if you feel an item of ours is too expensive, then simply don't buy it. That was logical, right? Wrong. Not only a grass-chewing oaf, but a smart aleck too. I have had enough out of you. I demand to speak with your supervisor. I am the supervisor. That was true, at least for today. Acting assistant manager. And yet your name tag reads sales associate. An oaf, a smart aleck, and a liar, too. I will see your manager and I will see you punished. And with that, the Felra lady started stomping down the aisle, screaming, "Manager! Manager!" at the top of her lungs. I just followed along behind her, a bit numb and terrified that she would actually cost me a job that I had, up until that day, enjoyed. It was a terrible, humiliating scene, and I was just grateful there were almost no other customers in the store. The key word there is almost, because that was when she appeared. My lovely guardian angel, sweeping in on two legs to save the day. I'm the manager here, I heard someone say. What's all this disturbance about? The voice sounded human and female, and for a moment I thought Corellia had gotten over her terrible bout of spontaneous intoxicated ecdysiasm and come in to work. But I was wrong. The human who stood in the aisle was shorter and paler than Corellia, with brown head fur that fell onto her shoulders. Some manager from another shift that I hadn't met before, or maybe someone from the regional or corporate office. But then I got closer and realized that the vest the human girl was wearing over her shirt wasn't actually our uniform one, but just something we stocked in our garments department that was similar in color. It even had the price sticker hanging off of it right where our employee name tag should be. Finally, the angry Felra said, and pointed at me. "This employee has been rude and disrespectful, has lied to me and refused to assist when I asked. I demand that he be disciplined immediately." "What?" the human gasped. She looked past the Felra, at where I was trembling behind her. "Is this true?" She glanced at my name tag. "Sonny. Have you been treating the customers disrespectfully again? We've talked about this how many times now?" I had no idea who this new person was or why she was doing this. I just wanted the whole episode to be over with. Miss, I started, but the human cut me off. "And now you've forgotten your own supervisor's name," she snapped, stomping towards me. I started to draw back, but as soon as she was past the Felra, one of her eyes flickered shut in what humans call a wink. I remembered my coworker Ontario telling me once that it means something when humans do that, but he had never said exactly what it meant. "For the last time, it's Arizona. Miss Arizona, to you." All right, Miss Arizona, but you." "No interrupting, Sonny. I'm afraid this is the last straw for you. If this lady wishes to lodge a complaint about you." "I do," said the Felra. "Then I'm afraid I have no choice but to fire you. As soon as we're done here, we're going to the office and formalizing your termination." Could random customers actually fire me? I honestly didn't even know anymore. I was just about to either burst into tears or run for the break room, when I caught the human, Miss Arizona, silently mouthing something at me. It looked like, "Play along." Okay. I let slip a few of those tears that were close to coming out anyway. "No, please. I can't afford to lose this job." "Well, then maybe you should have been more conscientious about your work." "Too bad. You'll have to find some other way of supporting those 3 kids of yours, now." "Kids? I wasn't even married yet. Wasn't even courting, for that matter." "But she said to play along, so." But, I stammered, "I have to save up money for my daughter's kidney rotation." "Too bad. We're firing you and that's that. No more wages, no more health benefits, no more employee discounts, no more company-provided drug rehab for your mother." The combination of anxiety and absurdity almost made me giggle at that last part. My mom's only addictions were watching terrible Creven game shows on 3V and hinting to my older sister about grandfoals. Maybe there was a rehab program for those addicted to bad 3V, and they could wean mom off of watching. Correct responses will be rewarded and queries on randomly selected topics by flooding her system with reruns of the My Magical Miniature Sand Lizard cartoon or something. I turned the impending laugh into a hitchy little sob, instead. "No, not Mom. She needs to get clean. She really does, too. Creven 3V is downright painful to watch. Tough. Your ass is fired, Sonny." Miss Arizona shook her finger in front of my nose. "As soon as I make things right for this fine and upstanding customer, I'm escorting you off the property." Then she turned to the Felra, who was standing there with a victorious look on her face. "Ma'am," she said, "I hope you will accept our humblest and deepest apologies for offending you, our valued customer. I know that firing Sonny and leaving him unemployed, destitute, with 3 sick children and a junkie mother can in no way begin to atone for the heinousness of what he did to you today, but I hope that you can find it in your heart to, perhaps, begin to feel the scales balanced by the knowledge of his and his family's abject suffering at your behest. The Felra shuffled a little uncomfortably. That's quite. Arizona cut her off. No, no. I know that Sonny, and by extension our entire organization, has been forever tainted, accursed in your eyes, by his behavior today. And for that we are so deeply sorry. We offer you the satisfaction of knowing that his daughter's kidneys will be forever misaligned, that his mother will be working the spaceport alleys, lifting her tail to strangers for the price of a fix, that he himself will be reduced to a state of groveling, wretched poverty, forever unemployable, blacklisted by the shadowy lords of retail. She swung back to me, sticking that finger in my face again. You are fired and you are accursed, Sonny. Your name shall become a synonym for terrible customer service until the end of days. You are a bad Iratrian and you should feel bad. The Felra lady was looking decidedly more uncomfortable. Yes, she said, throwing glances in the direction of the nearest exit. That's, fine. But, about this belly chain. Arizona looked to the Felra with tears in her eyes, then slowly sank to her knees. Please forgive us, oh mighty customer, she wailed. I know that ruining Sonny's life forever is only the beginning of our restitution for his failure to bow and scrape and abase himself before you as he should have. So, please, let your wrath be vented upon my body. She whipped off her belt and held it out to the Felra with one hand while ripping open her shirt with the other. She spread her arms wide, exposing her chest. As the representative and embodiment of, store name, let me be the recipient of your righteous ire. Flog my flesh until you are satisfied. Beat and abuse me. Sit on my face and make me call you mistress. The Felra jumped back, looking at the offered belt like it might try to bite her. Why you people? You are all insane. Insane, I say. She turned and bolted for the exit door. Since she forgot to drop the belly chain and hadn't paid for it, the inventory control AI wouldn't let her leave the store. I heard her yelp as it gave her a couple of painful compliance shocks before she finally threw the jewelry down and it let her out. I felt like a bad, awful person for enjoying those sounds as much as I did. The girl who called herself Arizona stood up, closing her shirt and grinning like a crazy person. Who? That was fun. Did you see that look on her face? Ha! She shook her head, still grinning. On an omnivore, the effect is a little unnerving. Shame she wouldn't take me up on the face-sitting offer. She was actually pretty hot when her stupid mouth wasn't running. I just sat back on my haunches and shook my head. That was both terrifying and awesome, I said, kind of numbly. I don't really want that to ever happen again, but I'm pretty sure I would enjoy it if it did. The girl reached out and patted me on the head. Heh. You're welcome, dude. I looked up at her, just a little awed. Who are you, anyway? I told you, I'm Arizona. She said that as if it answered everything. And you don't actually work for, store name, do you? Nah, dude. I just came in here to buy some stuff. I saw a guy in trouble and thought I'd help out. It is Xalji's holy day, after all. A day for doing good deeds, right? She shucked out of the vest and tossed it onto a shelf full of footwear. One of the bots would put it back where it belonged later. As the tension of the encounter finally started to bleed out of me, I found myself chuckling over it. Well, holy day or not, thank you, miss. I definitely owe you for getting me out of that situation. You have my gratitude. No worries, dude. Although. She looked me up and down, like she was appraising me for sale by the pound. If you really want to square us up, tell me what time your shift ends and we'll go hit one of the evening festivals together for drinks and whatever. Drinks and whatever sounded like a nice, friendly time. Maybe with snacks and games, even. Who knew? Anyway, I agreed and told her what time I got off work and she told me where to meet her. We started to finalize our agreement by shaking on it, in the human fashion, her right hand in my right manipulator. But when we clasped appendages, her shirt flopped wide open where it had not been refastened properly. I reflexively pulled back. "Oh no," I said. "You don't suffer from spontaneous intoxicated ecdysiasm, do you?" I didn't know if Iratrians could catch that from humans or not. Some illnesses can jump the species barrier, so it's always best to be cautious. The look she sent me made me shiver in bad and good ways simultaneously. "I've been known to," she said, doing that close one-eyed wink thing she had done earlier. "Maybe if you get the right drinks in me later, you can find out." I did find out later. The answer was yes.